Hello and welcome to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, the show where compassion meets prosperity. I am Paul Timbunde alongside my beautiful wife Joan here. We're honored to be your hosts. Together, Joan and I have built a home care agency from a little over $12,000 credit card loan. Okay, some people called it a gamble at that time. We've built it into an 8-figure business serving thousands of families over the years. And now we're here to share the lessons, strategies, and the mindset shifts that help us get there so that you can too.
We launched this podcast because the home care industry is often misunderstood. Too many people don't see the sacrifices owners and their caregivers make every single day, or the powerful impact agencies have on seniors and their communities. And truthfully, we looked around and realized there were not many podcasts out there shining a light on this industry. So we felt called to create the Home Care Millionaire Podcast.
This podcast is designed for the purpose-driven provider. For those of you who feel called to care, but also want to build a thriving, sustainable business. Each week, we're going to share with you real-life stories, proven strategies, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you move from just surviving to thriving.
Absolutely. Our tagline says it best. Compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. And here on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, we're going to show you how to embrace both.
So get ready for inspiration, practical insights, and the encouragement you need to impact lives, build wealth, and create a legacy through your agency. So hit subscribe, folks. Join us on this journey to transform your business, your mindset, and your future. Welcome, folks, to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, the show where compassion meets prosperity. I'm Paul Timbunde alongside my beautiful wife Joan here. We're honored to be your host today. Together, we built a home care agency from a little over $12,000 credit card loan. Some folks call it a gamble at that time. We built that into an 8-figure business serving thousands of families over the years. And now we're here to share the lessons, strategies, and mindset shifts that helped us get there so that you can as well.
Many in the industry have misunderstood what we do. Too many people don't see the sacrifices that the owners make, the caregivers make every single day, and the powerful impact that they have on the families that they serve and the community. So we thought, how about launching this podcast to shed the light on the many thousands of caregivers who are out there serving from their heart, making a difference in the lives of those we care for and the community for that matter.
This podcast is designed for the purpose-driven provider. For those of you who feel called to care, but also want to make and build a thriving, sustainable business in the process. Each week, we're going to share real stories, like the ones we're going to hear from Ed and Michael here today. We're going to share real stories, proven strategies, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you move from just surviving to thriving.
In fact, our tagline says it best. Compassion is your calling and wealth is your reward. And here on this Home Care Millionaire Podcast, we're going to show you how to embrace both.
So get ready for inspiration, practical insights, and the encouragement you need to build wealth, impact lives, and create a legacy through your agency. I'd encourage you to hit subscribe and join us on this journey to transform your business to your mindset too along the way in your future. Welcome, folks, to the Millionaire Home Care Millionaire Podcast today. I tell you, let me give this introduction in for Ed and Michael here. This is awesome. Just I got to say this, Ed. We don't usually get this kind of a power couple, power team partnership here. So Joan and I kind of trying to figure this thing all out here. We got the heavy hitters here, so we're really glad to have you. So again, today, Joan and I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming our dear friends. I would say folks who are really powerful giants in the industry. They serve so many thousands of people over the years. They do a great work doing it. They work from their heart, and they're just humble servants. We've gotten to know them, wonderful people, and they serve with excellence, compassion, and dedication. So that's what we brought them here today for them to share some insights with us. Is that correct, Joan? You want to just take
Absolutely. Knowing what you do for your home, we believe that our audience will be grateful that they watch this episode and more, because you're going to share with us some tips, some strategies that have helped you get to where you are today so that others can benefit. And together, we can continue to make that difference, positive difference in the lives of those who care. See, we thought about this podcast because we love to provide excellent care and we believe you too. And that's why you're so successful at it. But how many families can we take care of from our little corner here in Maryland and for you in Oregon? So we felt like sharing this information would benefit so many more across the nation, and who knows, Canada, Europe. So we'll have you
Yeah. And so again, without further ado, let's welcome Ed, Emberlin, and Michael Jamieson to the podcast today, folks. Let's have you guys share your story, your journey, how you got into this, and how it's been so far. Please, Ed, Michael, go ahead, please. The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to be on your podcast. It's great to collaborate like this, and we've always had the philosophy that a rising tide floats all boats. So if we can make each other better and share ideas and get better, whether it's another franchise in the same system as ours, or whether it's somebody in a different independent owner, another franchise, if everybody's doing better, that makes it that much better. So having this opportunity is a real honor. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Welcome again, Ed. Welcome again, Ed.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's, we've said for years, it's not a matter of, as Michael said, of having competitors. I mean, yes, there are competitors in the business, but our philosophy has always been to make sure that we're doing the best we can do, make sure that we are empowering others, empowering within our organization, and not being afraid to empower others outside of our organization as well. Like Michael said, that rising tide theory is more than a theory. It's a reality. There's so much need out there. And we don't want to grow because we need to grow because mama needs more shoes.
Nothing wrong with that, Ed.
No, nothing wrong with it. But you said at the beginning, when your motivations are correct, when you have a servant's heart, when you really bring a servant's mentality into your business, that will make it successful. Success comes with the correct motivations the right way. Hopefully we've done that. I think we've had success, and I think we had a good path and a really fun journey for 16 years.
Wow. See, you guys have been in for 16 years. Wow. Congrats. And like I said, you guys are giants. I mean, we can't say any other way. You guys, we look up to you guys a lot. I got to tell you that. I mean, I know I shared that with a little bit of that with Michael earlier, and of course, Ed, you and I've talked also. And it's all like you talk about. It's about learning from each other, because we spoke with another owner a few days ago, and he gave his story was so fascinating. I got into this, so and we'll chat some more about it later. How did you guys get into this? What inspired you to get into this service business? I mean, of course, we're gonna make money in the process, but how did you? Because a lot of folks, I say that because a lot of folks look at us, and they say, well, it's about money. No, that's a part of it. And I'd remind people that you're going to get paid whether you're working for McDonald's or Amazon, right? I mean, hey, right? So how did you guys, Ed, Mike, how did you guys get into this? What got you, because I know you have servants, but what got you into this? What was your journey like, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I started back in the 90s with a company called Abbey Home Care, and they were kind of one of the pioneers of introducing medical services in the home setting. And they started out as a party rental company, and they transitioned over to occupant and wheelchairs and other medical. And we also had clinicians on board, and I just really enjoyed it. And I also then went into the ministry and started working as a minister in the Lutheran Church. And that's actually where I met Ed. We had a mutual friend that said, hey, I got this guy that can really sing. And our mutual friend really wasn't, to be honest, that great of a musician. So I was going, I don't know. But when Ed came in to sing, it blew my socks off.
There you go. Wow.
We just hit it off instantly, and we became friends, and we sang music together. We had a men's Bible study group that we met once a week. I had actually gone to work for another home care agent in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
Kind of learned a little bit more about home care, what to do and also what not to do. I think equally to know there's always great things to learn from mentorship. Also a lot to learn from people that maybe you might want to help to solidify the direction of what we wanted to do. So I asked to join me as a partner, and that's when we started back in 2009.
Wow! Congrats! Wow!
What a story!
Wow! Wow! Hey, Ed, now we know you guys are multi-talented here. So
well, I definitely love to sing. There's no doubt about that. And Michael's being quite modest on his own musical talents. Fantastic keyboardist and a very good vocalist.
Wow.
But actually, his real gift was arrangement. He would call me before we started this and say, "Hey, I want you to listen to this song, and we're going to do it this way." And I would listen to it. I'm like, "Bro, that's not happening. There's no way I can do that." He's like, "You can do it. I promise." And every time it would just turn out fantastic and be a blessing. So, that's how we started early. I was a sales background. I was I've been in sales most of my life. Was selling fire engines and large apparatus, so custom built fire engines and large apparatus, and then passing bonds and measures. And I was the youngest, I was the newest salesman in the company. I'd been in for about 4 years, and I was let go. And very high income position, set of 150,000 maybe. There's not a lot of 6-figure jobs just hanging on the trees out there. And so I was really contemplating my next thing to do, and was going to get back into disaster restoration. I had worked for Service Master. My uncle owned that company, and I ran that for him for a while. And then Michael approached me, not knowing that I had been actually let go. He was going to try and convince me to leave my high-paying job to come and start something. And as the Lord works, we both are Christian men. And I'll say, as the Lord works, God's timing was bigger than both our timing, and so it ended up pulling the trigger. And as I always say, instead of going back and making a bunch of money, I decided to work really hard and make nothing for a couple of years, and there you go. And build the business and build the foundation that now, 16 years later, has provided a bounty that I don't think either of us could have ever quite imagined.
Wow. Yeah. Congrats. Great story. I tell you, great story. Isn't that interesting? I mean, isn't it interesting when you wait on the Lord, his timing is always perfect, isn't it?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
We say all the time, we probably should write a book and just document the miracle stories and the God's timing stories in our business, because there's so many, and not small little, trying to find, wow, that was so obvious, the hand of the Lord in our business.
Yeah, in fact, we our very first client, I'll just tell you that story. So we had got our office, and we got our license system set up, and we were ready to go. And we said, well, I think we need to pray for a client. And I will do a little. One of the things that we've done is we've started each morning with prayer in our business. And we do that. We do that currently as well. And a client and a caregiver and a referral source in prayer, and then we send them a card to say, "Hey, we prayed for you today." And it really helps to center us about what we're doing this for. What's the real reason that we're doing this care for people? Wow. So Ed and I earnestly started praying for a client because the money was going this way, nothing coming.
That's right.
And so we said the prayer, and the next day we got a phone call, and it was a woman who needed 24-hour care, first client. And so
that sounds exciting.
That sounds exciting. It was. We were all excited. We had our suits on and everything when we went to visit in the hospital, way overdressed. And we were really excited. We went around the corner where nobody can see us, high-fiving each other. Yay. That's right. We're going to drive into the office, and Ed says, Michael, we only have 5 caregivers, and we probably got about 40 hours amongst all 5 of them. It's like, we better start praying for caregivers.
Hey, it's true. We literally got back to the office and walked in the office and stopped and prayed and said, well, Lord, you've given us this 24/7 case. we need 148 more hours of care availability. So, and again, without advertising for caregivers, we were at that stage. It's all word of mouth. We had used Michael's previous connections to get the 5 we had to pass the license in our state.
Okay. Yes.
We went to those 5 caregivers and said, "Hey, do you know anybody?" And within, I'd say, maybe 36 hours, we had enough caregivers to meet the burden.
Wow.
I mean, it was just it was unbelievable. And that lady, what's amazing about her is she was stage 4 cancer, but she was having problems of UTIs because she wasn't eating and drinking properly. So we got her on as a testament to good quality in-home care. She got off of hospital and lived quite a bit longer. And then she went back on hospice, ended up passing with us, but we got to take her up to a place in Woodburn to look at the tulips, which she wanted to do before she passed. And another interesting side note, just to throw this in there. So her grandson, who we didn't know, is now currently our executive director of our entire organization, Scott Fair. That was his grandmother, was our first client ever.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
You need to write that book.
I know.
You got to do
That's
the book.
chapter 1. We've got 6 or 12 more chapters, I promise you.
You got to do it, man. And when you do that book, please come on our podcast. Let's talk about it. See, Ed and Michael, this is what we're talking about, though. These are the stories. I mean, we are on Soul Heroes here. This is the difference. I mean, look at the difference you guys made. I mean, the fact that you gave it to the Lord. I mean, because we're all Christians here. We believe that it's by God's grace. I mean, it really isn't. We're His vehicle, right, to do His good. And so, this is a message that folks need. Because we don't hear. I mean, seriously, we don't hear enough of this out there. And folks got to believe. They got to know that it can happen, and if they trust in the Lord and do the right thing, it's going to manifest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've had stories like that too. But this is powerful, man. Please, that's what we want to share here. That's what I want to really shine a light on stuff like this. Because absolutely.
Wow.
Well, and I will add too, when it comes to shedding light. Well, you just said something, that you have to trust. And I'll say, as big as that book could be, as many times as God has blessed us, we still, because of our human nature, we all today get angry at ourselves because we have a meeting and we're like, we're stressing out, we're thinking this or that, and then we'll have a meeting the next week and it's totally resolved itself. And we look at each other and we're like, how dumb are we? He has never failed us.
No.
Not always been the answer we wanted, but the answer was always provided, and we've always come through shining and brighter and stronger.
There you go.
And yet we still don't see it, and we still, you can say we're a pillar. I don't know about that. I think we're working day by day, and we just refuse to fall down, and we refuse to get back up. And
that's it. 100%.
And I think you look at he provides. He provides.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree.
So can you shed some light on? I mean, you're very successful, but we know, like many businesses, there are challenges, right? Some of your major challenges and how you overcame them. We know, of course, the Lord has been your guiding light. Yeah. What challenges have you had, and what have you done besides praying, of course, that has helped
praying
you?
has been a big part of it. But
absolutely. What else have you done to help you overcome some of these challenges?
I think what we first started off with is that we really looked at it from the perspective of a client. What's it like to interface with our organization? And in fact, we developed a mission statement, but we changed it. A mission statement has to have 2 main things. It's got to apply, it's got to resonate and be, sincere in what you do. And it's also got to be rememberable. So our mission statement is we provide a profoundly remarkable experience. So it's a nice thing to be able to bounce ideas off of or check yourself with. If you get off a phone call, we encourage our employees to get off a phone call and ask themselves, did I just provide a profound and memorable experience? And it's easy to do, and that keeps us focused on it. So when we first started, to get back to your question, we wanted to make sure it was a remarkable experience. We made sure, for example, that whenever somebody called in, they got a live voice. And we're a 24/7 business. So we want to make outside of business, actually service. So they got an actual person that they talk to. That first year, we were on call quite a bit.
Hey, same here. I'm with you. I feel your pain. Yeah.
The other part of it is so we jumped in feet first. We just completely committed ourselves to the business. I suppose there could be success if you were to start this time basis, but I haven't seen it. We haven't really seen that. What we've seen is when they've committed everything to the business. So we wanted to do that right at the very beginning. And of course, it was a lot of time and energy and hours, and there's a lot of 12-hour days in there or more. After we created that culture of providing that experience for our clients, that's when the growth really started.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. For sure. One thing too, I think when you're trying to find that balance between something that is practical and attainable, but also something that is a stretch, I think that's for us a profoundly remarkable experience. It might sound like our heads in the clouds. It's like, okay, come on. You really provide that every single day? No, we don't. I mean, but we strive to. You got to set that benchmark out there, and you have to have something out there that is a difference maker.
Yes.
I think of conflicts too and challenges. We had our own. I mean, just Michael and I, a 50-50 business partnership. We're not married. We don't have the benefit of that. So, I think it's also a matter of humbling yourself when those conflicts. We were certainly far from perfect business partners with each other or to each other. We're very different personalities, and we had growing pains of that. But at each of those moments, we would get to a place of learning to stop and humble ourselves and decide, we know that God put us here together, and that's the tie that binds. So what are we as humans? And sometimes that took us figuring that out. Candidly, we've had 2 different business coaches, kind of people who come in and helped us help ourselves. And we laugh all the time. I don't know that they tell us anything we didn't already know, but they have got a way of presenting it to us in a manner that makes us think outside our circumstances. And I think that's been very helpful. And so you can't be afraid to ask for help or to bring in help as well if you need it. I think that's part of being humble.
Yes.
In those moments, not saying, I know the answer. Well, what happens if I know the answer and he says, well, I know the answer and it's a different answer?
Yeah. You got it. You're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're so, I know you guys have more lessons, but you're so right. I was just going to add that, you see, to your point, the humility part of it, we see that with you guys. I mean, we see that every day. I mean, you guys, it's just part of you guys. I mean, it's just part, you're giants, but then you're so humble. I think seriously, to me, that to me is no, seriously.
The servant heart.
Oh, yeah.
Speaks to the servant heart.
I tell, like, Joan and I we're spouse and all of that, and we have our moments, as you can certainly imagine, and we discern certain things. But at the end of the day, what's good for the team? What's good for the client? Because if you put, like Ziegler used to say, you take your eyes off yourself and put it on the other person, you will be taken care of. Because at the end, if you're serving humanity, which is what we're doing, we're providing care to folks who are vulnerable. You guys have worked even on holidays and whatnot. That it's got to pay back.
Yeah. And I think leadership is not about controlling everything. It's about controlling yourself. And like Ed was talking about, we may think that we have all the answers, and you want to give those answers. Quite often, we've been in this business for 16 years, and we know quite a bit about how to run the business. And propensity is to just give the answers, and this is what I think we want to do. But being able to just step back a little bit and hear other people's viewpoints on it, and being a good listener, that's. Being a good communicator is being a good listener. You hear people where they're at and reinforce them. And rather than having it either or situation, we do it my way. We get to a place where we can say, well, I can understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily have to agree, but I can understand where you're coming from. We can understand one another. And then it goes from a either or to a both.
Yes.
We can accommodate each other way forward. And I think that's been a key to our leadership. And we frankly learned that the hard way. There's plenty of times when we've rolled out things and said, hey, we think this is great, and we've put it out to our employees, and it kind of died. It wasn't because it wasn't a good idea, but it was because we were trying to control the process and really wanted to push it forward rather than bringing people in and getting their ideas, and making them feel empowered and a part of what's going on.
That's it.
Yeah, there's such a nuance to that. I remember Stephen, one of our business coaches, said, understand this, guys. By the time you bring it to your staff, you've been going round and round, bouncing off each other, crafting it. You're experts in what you're bringing to them. And then you expect to bring that to them and them go, this is the greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
You think it was the greatest thing ever the first day you heard it? No, you're like, oh, this is a lot to take in. I need a process. I need to sit in the mire and figure this out.
That's right.
Changing your expectations and involving people earlier can really help out a lot with that, for sure.
Absolutely. Creating that buy-in from the get-go.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And also too, I'll say one thing too is when you're trying to find kind of that balance, I think it also depends on where you're at in your business. If you're early in your business, and it's Michael and I, it was certainly much easier. We had to manage 2 people, maybe a couple office staff, but now with 5 franchises and 3 different offices and 45, 50 office staff, we're not the boots on the ground. And so we've had a very much a paradigm shift in what we look at and how we look at what's going to be implemented. We're still very involved in strategic planning and seeing the future and trying to find what's coming next. But once you have ideas, you've got to have that inner circle that you present ideas to early and get feedback there, because there might be something that we both are like, this is it. And if every one of your inner circle says, this is not it, you got to listen. It doesn't mean it's not it. It doesn't mean it's it, but it means we've got a lot more curiosity and a lot more, figuring out what happens. And one thing that I'll just give this as a little tidbit to everybody. One thing that we use, you talk about conflict and challenge, overcoming it. We use 2 things that are really important every time you walk into an area of conflict or challenge. And it's leading with greatness assumption. Assuming that the person you're in conflict with isn't a bad person. They don't hate you. They don't dislike you. It's probably not even you they have the conflict with. It's something over here. And we both see a different side. This is really, the most tan thing I've ever seen. And Michael's like, no, it's not. It's the whitest thing I've ever seen. It's like, well, we're just seeing different sides of it, right?
That's right.
And I think that's something, if you can lead with gracious assumption, which then leads to curiosity. Why do you feel the opposite of me? Not you feel the opposite of me, but why? You're a good person. I know your heart.
That's right.
There's a good reason why you do. And if I can discover that, and you can discover for me, fine, we have a chance of finding that real solution.
With such a big office, you're talking 40 to 50 office staff, what systems do you have in place to help you be more efficient and effective? That's a huge office staff size.
Yeah, it is. I think it starts with the people, Joan. We've I think you also learn from mistakes. There were times when we needed a lot of caregivers, and we just started hiring caregivers and kind of let the standards drop a little bit. But that was a painful process to come work out of that. Whenever there's a company that has really good employees, I like to ask, what's your hiring process? And so we asked for quite a few different organizations, how do you hire such good people? And it's very similar. There's about 3 or 4 things that they do. One is they take their time. They make sure that, we don't rush the process. We move it along. We don't want to be through a process that's drawn out, but they take their time with it. Number 2 is they do something called some type of a behavioral analysis, something that can give them some depth and insight into that you may not get through an interview process. And the third thing so they have an opportunity to sit with staff members, and they don't ask the tricky questions like, tell me about your weaknesses here, we should hire you. It's more of a, what did you do for this weekend? What kind of fun do you like, activities do you like to do for fun? It gives them an opportunity to meet our staff and our staff to meet them to see if it's a good fit. And then we have them meet with several people. So it's not just one-on-one interview, it's 3 or 4. When you start there, you can determine whether or not this person is fit.
Yes.
Then they can really things that we may not even see it right now. We're not in the business. We work hard, not in the business as much. So when you have those people, they help you do that. But having said that, we went probably Ed, 10 years ago, we decided that, we want to be efficient in what we do. Oregon is one of 2 states that is able to do medication administration with nurse supervision.
Okay.
And to do that was the kind of the prevailing wisdom out there was to do a spreadsheet and send it out to the home every month, and they put their initials on each day where they did each of the medications, and they'd mail it back to the office for the record.
Or use carbon paper.
And the problem is that you're getting information that's 3-4 weeks old sometimes, and it's maybe not always accurate. So we developed our own website where we can do, it's all electronic. We can do electronically. If we have a client, for example, let's say a hospice client, it's 8 o'clock at night and the hospice nurse calls and says, we need to up their medication. The caregiver can call our nurse. Our nurse can make that change instantaneously, and we can have that in place. So that's one of the ways that we've used some efficiency and some automation to improve our overall profitability.
Yeah,
I think amazing.
What's interesting about Michael, what I think is interesting about what Michael said too is that I'm not sure that it's necessarily. I mean, having a hierarchy and making sure you have the infrastructure there is important. But I love that his first go-to on how you structure an office was how to structure the office with people, because it really is different. If you can get people in an office that are working together, we've seen each of our offices have slightly different hierarchy structures, and over time we've had tweaks, and we've gone from an operations manager in charge of scheduling to now we have a hiring person and they're under that person. I mean, we've moved things around. The pieces of the puzzle have moved around. We think we have a really good handle on that now, but candidly, I would say it's almost like a football coach who has, it's personnel driven. Where are the strengths? Where you can think this is our system and everyone's going to conform to it. And you have this superstar who can take on 2 positions. Well, why wouldn't you let them do that if you can really do it?
Exactly.
That's
and then you eliminate that one position, and then, this person's great here. And then we move over there. And so we really work hard to find great culture fit first. And then, as far as, the structure and things like that, I think you have to have that. But I would say confidently that it's more about who's in those seats than the names of those seats.
That's right. Putting the right person on the right seat, in the right seat.
100%.
Well, and that's a hard thing to do.
No, it is. I mean, and you're right. I mean, Ed and Mike, you guys are, especially someone who's not ego driven too. I mean, because as you know, dealing with a team of, I think we have a little over 25 folks in the office, and that team, the egos, because we do the same thing you guys do. We hire more for, who they are, how they're going to fit in, because we think that everything being equal, once you have the right person in there, you can teach them just about anything.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, and our industry isn't rocket science. You don't need a PhD in astrophysics to be a caregiver or to teach caregivers how to be caregivers or to schedule. Doesn't mean it doesn't come with challenges. But
you're right.
I agree. Other than maybe in our world where our RN position is a certain requirement because there's a medication requirement for that. But other than that, you're hiring for a certain talent. You don't want someone that's a extroverted busybody being stuck in a position where in one little cubicle they're going to go crazy. So there's the basic understanding of who you're hiring for what position, but it really is about finding the right fit. And I think we've also, as Michael mentioned, really embraced technology in almost every realm that we can, from things as simple as early on we made the decision, I don't know how many years in, but very early, to not take checks, to not have paper checks be written. And
Okay.
I will say, frankly, as far as if I could give any in-home care agency advice, I would say stop taking checks immediately and take credit card and ACH only. Now, you're going to have to grandfather some of your existing clients in, because you're going to have an uproar.
Right.
We might have had 20-30% out, and we grandfathered a bunch in early. But now that we present this as the two methods of payment, it's 99-point-something% that are like, there's no fight. We'll get one because they have a legitimate reason. We have a family trust, and we can only cut it. Check with you. But even then, you can find ways. Well, if you have a credit card, you can put it on, and then reimburse yourself within 30 days. Utilizing technology can be critical when you're talking about just being a business. Just the business aspect of this conversation, cash flow management is really what determines how a business runs well. So something as simple as collecting 98% of your money now before you have payroll, it blows up the model. So you got to have 2 months of revenue sitting in the bank. No, you don't.
Yes.
And innovations that really make a difference.
We are, it's a cash flow business. And drilling down a little further on that same thing, you take your receivable to past 60 days down to 7 days. It changes your organization completely.
It does.
You now have the ability to grow, to hire new people, to expand. If your receivables are out there at, past 60 days, like they were when we were taking checks, you got to wait on it, and you're kind of the bank of Ed and Michael for a while.
Exactly, Ed and Michael. You're right. So true. And you guys don't charge a late fee either. You don't charge Ed and Michael. You don't charge any interest on that money. You know what I mean? It's out there.
You don't. I mean, you threaten it just as a deterrent more than anything else. But
yeah. Go ahead. Ed,
on the people that you hire, there's the converse of it. Finding the right people that fit in the right culture. And you don't always know 100%, when you hire them, they're going to come on and they're going to assimilate or not. And you have to be able to recognize that quickly. And, the old adage, hire slow, fire fast, is actually pretty true. And we work in a business of the heart. So we have a lot of compassion and maybe have a tendency to hang on to people a little too long who aren't a good fit. And we have learned that not only does that not work for us, but it doesn't work for the employee themselves, because if it's not a good fit for us, it's not going to be a good fit for them. They are suited in a different organization, different role, that type of thing. But even more importantly, it's the impact it has on your staff. If you've got somebody that's struggling as an employee, it's no secret to the rest of your staff that employee is struggling. So you have to be mindful of those people as well, and act in a manner that's quick enough to correct the problem.
Wow, Michael, that's what they call a public secret, right? I mean, everybody knows, but public secret. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Ed and Michael, let me ask you this, because I think this is really important. You talked about managing the big team and letting people go sooner rather than later, right? I mean, if you find it's not a good fit, which is we practice as well. How do you deal with it? Because sometimes, you guys are partners, just Joan and I are as well. You may see things differently. Ed may see things different from Michael. Michael may say, you know what? I think out of 5 this president, and Ed feels differently. I'm sure you've gone through this kind of conflicts before. How do you manage that? How do you come to common, understanding, if you will, to want this?
It's interesting, because I'm actually the one who hangs on way too long. I just believe I'm like that wife who's like, oh, I can turn him for sure. And I think when you get to that place, we've had very few real impasses where it's like, we've had disagreements. But I think going back to the conversation about gracious assumption.
Yes.
You're not disagreeing with me because you think I'm an idiot. You're valid reasons.
Correct.
And then curiosity. What are those valid reasons? We've implemented something very early, just in our partnership, that worked well. If one person is highly passionate about it, and the other person is like, I don't really agree, but go with the highly passionate person's opinion.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't be an excuse to be highly passionate all the time.
No, of course not.
A genuineness there, but we've made mostly good choice. Now, and we've made the wrong choices, probably in my opinion, and probably in Michael's opinion, the opposite. So you're not going to get it 100% right. I think when you really understand your why, then you get down that path less. So in the balance of taking example, hiring people and knowing it's time for them to go, you lean on kind of I would say the giants of hiring, the Simon Sinek's of the world, and you start looking at them saying, he did that whole chart with the SEALs where he talked about, there's the high quality work and there's the high quality human, and everyone wants high quality human and high quality work. No one wants low quality work, low quality human, mediocre quality of work, but high quality human, and really high quality work, but low quality human. And he will tell you this person, the high quality work, is your toxic person. That's your person that will bring your business down. And you hang on. We had some in our organization that was kind of our charge of our schedulers that we hung on to for years because she was the best at her job I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Yeah. And maybe the single most toxic person we've ever had in our business. A handful, if not more, of good people. Probably lost 10s, 20s, who knows how many caregivers because of her.
Wow.
And yet, just feeling like, gosh, if we could just get her to not be such a jerk. She's so good, and you hang on too long. I think in the end, you can go back to kind of, we both are big on educating ourselves and reading books between Simon Sinek, or like we both read Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willenick, and he talks a lot about, have you done everything in your power to help someone? I think that's more in a performance issue, not a personality issue. If they're not a right fit, you have to have your eyes open to listening to the boots on the ground. If you get 2-3 people in a 15-person office that come in and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this person when they do X, Y, and Z. Not just one, it's 2. Oh, now there's 3. I mean, that's a fifth of your entire office. Like that's to hearing that, even if your perspective is quite different. Because as owners, people make you feel like they're the greatest. You walk in, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then you got to find out, what are they doing when you walk out of the room.
Exactly.
And I think that's where you have to be quick to make a decision on this. Is this person in that toxic, and then get rid of it. It's more performance issue. A low performer, a high quality person. I think that's different. That's where we take a mentality, like Jocko Willink said in his book, of have you done everything in your power as the manager to allow them to be successful? And that takes time, dedication, energy. It's things we don't maybe have time or want to give. But it isn't, we don't believe in letting someone go because of a performance issue, not a person issue, until we've given them a chance to succeed. And so I think it depends on the kind of person and what their issue is. Toxic, out quick.
Of course.
Help with performance. It's giving them the tools they need. And then even if you do that and they're still not successful, reevaluate, do I have them in the right spot for our organization?
Awesome.
Maybe I hired out of need, and I was so desperate to hire, I put a good person in the wrong position and expected them to succeed. That's my problem. It's not their problem.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Ed, thank you. Michael, this is awesome. I mean, let me just ask one last question before we ask for your nuggets, to just leave with us here. What's your methodology? Or can I ask you a secret sauce for hiring exemplary employees? Because I know you do that. I mean, from your current operations director or whatever.
Executive Director Scott,
Scott, So what's your secret sauce? Because that's something that I'm sure that we want to learn from, and certainly our audience would love to know what your secret sauce is for that.
Well, we hire a lot of caregivers. We hire across all the locations anywhere from 5 to 12 caregivers a week, and there again, we do a process. We have a process for doing that. We do a screening, initial screening. We do a little personality. They do a couple of interviews, and so we do take our time. We only hire between 3 to 6 out of 100 applicants.
Okay.
So we're very
wow.
And we used to kind of lean on and require experience. We'd only hire caregivers. When we first started, they had to have a year experience, and then we put it down to 6 months. But we found ourselves on some really quality people.
Okay.
And so we created a program called the PCA, Personal Care Assistant Program. You can apply without experience. So when we advertise, we don't say you need experience in that. It's if you'd like to be a caregiver, we have a path for you to do that. And what we do with those caregivers, they come in and they go through about a 5-hour training program where they learn how to do a transfer. What does it mean for peri-care? How do you do meal preparation? How do we keep track of things on a care plan? All of those things that are common to a caregiver. And out of that group, you have some people that say, I don't know if this is for me. And that's okay.
Okay.
That's fine. But we get some really quality caregivers because we're hiring based on the person, not on the experience. And we found that those caregivers, our highest turnover period is the first 90. That's your highest turnover period. Those caregivers, the personal care assistant, no experience, so we do that training process. They had the least amount of turnover.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the program that's been.
Thank you. How about office staff?
I think what Michael mentioned at the very beginning of that too, though, is, and we talked about earlier, is hiring for fit. Scott, our executive director, I'll give him credit for this one. He said, "Are they my people or are they not my people?" You met us, and within, I would guess, a short period of time, just like I can say firmly, in meeting you, within minutes, I was like, "Oh, that's my people." Like that, I knew within minutes.
Thank you.
I love these people, right? And here's the truth: if you take away and strip away, I'm trying to discover if they're going to be a great scheduler or if they're going to be a great case manager. If you walk in and just have conversation and get to know them, you'll know if you're really open to listening to yourself and listen to the conversation. Are these my people or not? And we don't hire people that aren't my people.
Wow.
Scott literally says, he's like, man, she seems really talented and she seems great. I just got something that's a weird vibe, and it's not my people.
We worked with a consultant on caregiver hiring, and a couple of things that we still use. One is, if it's not a definite yes, it's a no. It's a no.
That's right.
Yeah. And the other thing was find reasons not to. Now that sounds kind of bad. People of the heart. That's our business, and we want to give people a chance, and we want to, but we do by doing that. If we're approaching that with hiring, especially if we're trying to find ways that they might fit. Let's see. Well, they might be able to work over here. We're finding reasons to hire them and putting them in a position that might not be best for them. So we're finding reasons to not hire them. And they have to be pretty significant, and they'll manifest themselves easily. So that's I go back to that hiring 6 out of 100 applicants.
Good.
That's why we don't hire as many applicants, and we could grow a lot faster. We really could, but we know that we take our time, and so we get those quality people who have better turnover rates and better overall quality of care.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed, please.
Well, I think that applies to office staff as well. I mean, again, Michael's right. It seems so odd to try and find the negative. But if you're sitting with someone and you don't find the negative, guess what? They're your people. Right? I mean,
there you go. That's right. You're right.
We get wooed by the positive. But if you think about it, again, that toxic person in your organization, they're a high achiever. They might be your highest achiever, but there's just some things that they aren't our people, and they have some human problems. So when you're interview for the human side. Don't interview for the work-oriented side of it. I mean, and I think that's a thing too, especially the Michael and I being, we're not a Christian organization, meaning everybody in the workforce is a Christian. That's certainly not the case.
That's exactly right.
Even in the office staff. But we do know that we start every morning in all our offices with a meeting that ends in a prayer. So if you're not kind of okay with that, and again, you don't have to be a believer. I'll give you a quick insight. It's one of my favorite stories.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Melissa was our nurse case manager. Great gal.
Okay.
She came from hospice. We kind of stole her away and then wheeled her back and make her a hospice manager. We couldn't afford her. I'm sitting in the exit interview and I asked her, I said, well, what do we do great? What do we do bad? She said, great, nothing bad. And I said, okay, well, I know we do things wrong, but let's start with the easy question. What's your favorite part? What was your favorite part about working here? We call it getting your prey on. She goes, well, getting your prey on in the morning. And I go, really? I go, that's great. She goes, but I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, I'm an atheist. How is getting your prey on your favorite part of working here? You're an atheist.
Exactly.
And she looked at me and she said, Ed, I don't have to believe in the God you believe in to know that you as a business owner and Michael as a business owner allow us to get together for 15, 20 minutes in the morning and think about people outside of our work environment and then lift them up in prayer. It doesn't matter to me if you're praying to your God or someone else's God, but we're doing that, and then we're sending them a handwritten note saying, we lifted you up in prayer today. She goes, that is what it's all about. That is having a servant's heart. And it goes to show, and it showed me, you don't have to be so like-minded on your religious beliefs, but you do have to be like-minded on your servant's heart and your moral principles. And my people doesn't mean you're a Christian. You could be. I hope you are. I hope if you aren't, you become one, because that's my own personal belief. But that's not what our business works under. Our business works under finding people who have a similar mindset of service, a similar mindset of what's morally good and right and the thing you should be doing. And you can be an atheist, and you can be a Christian, you can be Jewish, you can be a Muslim, and all those things can come together and be just fine. So when you find your people, they look at their shape, size, colors, beliefs, all are different. And that's a beautiful thing. Strength and diversity.
It is. And that's it. I mean, that's so listen, Ed, Michael, more, I tell you, we're so happy and appreciative, the wisdom you shared here. I think we're going to learn from it. We learn from you guys all the time. Anyways, we're going to learn from this, and I'm sure our audience will be blessed by this. Thank you again for taking the time. You're a very busy day, because you guys are very busy, and to be here with us, we're so appreciative. So let me just do a closing here real quick, and then we'll get back together here. Give me just a few here. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. We hope you found inspiration, encouragement, and practical tools you can apply right away in your own journey. Our mission is simple: to shine a light on the incredible impact that home care owners and their caregivers make every single day, and to give you the mindset, strategies, and faith-filled wisdom to build both purpose and prosperity. Because
here's what we believe: compassion is your calling, and wealth is your reward.
If this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you never miss another episode. If you'd like more resources, just reach out to us on askjoanandpaul.com. We'll be honored to connect with you there and see how we can be of service. Until next time, remember, you have what it takes to build wealth, create freedom, and leave a legacy through your agency. We're cheering you on every step of the way. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. We hope you found inspiration, encouragement, and practical tools you can apply right away in your own journey. Our mission is simple, folks: to shine a light on the incredible impact that home care owners and their caregivers make every single day, and to give you the mindset, strategies, and faith-filled wisdom to build both purpose and prosperity.
Because here is what we believe: compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. If this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you like more resources or have questions for Paul and I, just head over to askjoanandpaul.com. We'll be honored to connect with you there.
Until next time, folks, remember, you have what it takes to build wealth, create freedom, and leave a legacy through your agency. We're here cheering you on every step of the way. Bye for now.